Hello and welcome to EV Review Ireland, and it is our Power Hour. It has been a while since we've done one of these, so I try and do them every month, but it's been so busy with the channel and with work. I said it's timely because we had a huge announcement today here in Ireland, and I know across my viewers in the United Kingdom, it's been an ongoing thing. So the main topic of conversation this evening is going to be EV charging and public charging prices. Before I start, if you can send a message in and let me know that you're getting me loud and clear, depending on the platform. So I already had a message in from Derek. Thank you very much. And that's coming through from YouTube regarding the recent price hikes from e-cars. Would it be good to get an understanding of what is happening and not just the war in the Ukraine? Could they offset hike against their profits? I'm sure they could. So yeah, with ESB cars, there may be an element of they have to purchase power at a certain futures commodity, kind of lock in a price, and they may have locked it in a bit too high. As we can see, prices are coming back down again. So it's going to be an interesting one. It's definitely taken the shine off owning an EV. But as I said to everybody who messaged me, as soon as they got the email, I was getting emails from family, friends, and people within the EV community to say, oh my God, it's nearly as expensive now to power your car on petrol or diesel, but that's not the case if you're able to charge at home now. And we'll talk about what I think should happen to people that don't have off-street parking. We have a message in from I don't know who you are, but you came through to me on YouTube. I hope you're having a good day so far. Having a great day. Thank you very much for the comment and for the message. We've got Colin coming through. Great to see you, Colin, on LinkedIn, which is great. Mr. Mawson, great to see you. Hit the like button, people. Absolutely. If you haven't already, if you're coming in on YouTube, if you haven't already, like the video and it just starts to share out organically. If you haven't subscribed to the channel already. So since our last session in August, the channel passed 10,000 subscribers. So phenomenal. Thank you so much for all the support. We're at about 10,800 subscribers now. So the aim is to try and get us to 12,000 by the end of the year, but I'm delighted wherever we end up. Colin back in. Simon's in. Good evening, Simon, coming in on LinkedIn, which is great. Mr. Mawson has confirmed it all sounds good on YouTube. Thank you very much. We've got Cian coming in from County Meath, loud and clear, Derek. Thank you, Cian. Great to see you. It was good to catch up today for lunch. We've got WD Hamilton. Good to see you, loud and clear here on YouTube. Paddy coming in from the AA. Great to see you, Paddy. Evening, everybody. So it sounds like we've got the audio stuff sorted out. I haven't got any comments yet in from Facebook, so if you're coming in on Facebook, make sure you give me a shout. So e-cars are a separate entity to the profitable part of ESB, so it's a great clarification. So if you're calling, if you're dialing in through the Republic of Ireland or even Northern Ireland tonight, you've got ESB Networks, which is the team that put out the actual infrastructure. You've got Electric Ireland, which are the domestic wing, but also the utility bill side of things, so they have a commercial side as well. And then you've got ESB eCars, which is a separate entity to ESB, and they operate the charging network funded by the state, or part funded by the state, but they are a private entity in essence. Mark's coming in. Here I am, happy with my new C40. Great to hear, Mark. Hopefully you've got some off-street charging. Mark's coming in Scotland, and Mark, I definitely won't keep this to an Irish audience because we have those public charging announcements and the price hikes coming into the United Kingdom as well. So what I want this evening is everybody that's listening and chatting in to leave comments and let us know what you think we should do about it. I've got some ideas as well. So over the next hour, we're going to be chatting about that and some other topics as well as they pop up in the chat. So great to see you coming in all the way from Scotland. Thanks, Mark. Just plugged in. Keep up the great work. Thank you very much, Alan. Chris is in from EasyGo. Evening, Derek. Good to see you, Chris. And great to see you at the EV Summit there recently as well. And the announcement about the AIR partnership around the council and with the councils around the country. So great to see you, Chris. And looking forward to your feedback on the session tonight about that public charging as well. Loud and clear, even in Switzerland. Great to see you, Remy. International audience, as always. Mr. Mawson's coming in from Bradford. And we also have Carl coming in from the UK. Just this accent is tricky. Your accent, Carl, or my accent? It's all cool. It's all cool. If you haven't already, make sure that you have subscribed to the channel, as we say, on LinkedIn or YouTube. So there's a LinkedIn page, there's a Twitter account, and then there's also the YouTube channel. So if you haven't already, make sure you're liking and subscribe, etc., etc. So back to the comments and back to the point in hand. So yesterday evening or yesterday midday, we had an announcement from ESB eCars, which is the EV charging division, that the prices were going to go up on the public charging system that's currently around the Republic of Ireland. In Northern Ireland, they are still getting it free of charge. It's a different battle that needs to be fought up there. And I'm a proud member of the EV Association in Northern Ireland as well. I'm sitting on that committee. And just to keep an eye on what's happening on both sides here. And they're crying out for people for DSB e-cars to charge up there because people are sitting down, they're not leaving for the day, and the infrastructure is in dire need of upgrade. And when you're not charging for the infrastructure, it's very difficult to recoup and have that profit to come back in. So what we're hoping from the ESB announcement yesterday is that the money that they're making with these price increases that are starting to increase the reliability, the frequency, etc. of these. We have Bernd coming in. I just bought myself a Maxus EV80. Congratulations, Bernd. Very good. It looks like that's the profile picture as well. LDV EV80, yeah. Maxus rebranded, correct. eCar's high power rate is even more expensive than Tesla supercharger Arling peak weight. What a joke. It's a great point. So with the ESB, and I'll just bring it up on the screen here as well so that people can see exactly what we're chatting about. So with make it big. So this was the email that went out yesterday. And so what we're saying is that it pay as you go. So there's two different models within the ESB in Ireland. You have a pay as you go rate, which means that you just have the app, and as you go, you pay as you go. You don't have to sign up to a membership, whereas with a membership, it's slightly less, but you pay a monthly fee. So we have three different differences. The monthly fee is €4.79. You've got 56.3, 64.7 and 68.2. And as our friend is after saying, Chen. Apologies for pronouncing your name. With Tesla, so with the ESB, what you're going to have is a set rate, a set tariff, whether it's 3 o'clock in the morning or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, bank holiday weekend on a Friday, or middle of the week, normal time. Whereas with Tesla, they have a fluctuating kind of pricing, like surge pricing on the taxi apps. So the more busier times, the long weekends, etc., Tesla are able to tweak that network and you charge a bit more if they're the times that you're charging at. Whereas with ESB, it's a flat rate. And so, yeah, being more expensive is it's a difficult one for people to understand what they're paying for. So, yeah, it's and Chris from EasyGo obviously has been on he'll probably pop in now as well, as to because currently the majority of EasyGo Ireland sites are cheaper than what's proposed here. EasyGo is slightly different as well. They're sometimes dictated to as to the site owner. So if I let EasyGo into my site, I could say to them, I want you to charge X amount, etc., etc. So I know that the majority of EasyGo sites are around 45 cents, 49 cents. There is a introductory or a kind of a connection fee, 26 cents, 24 cents. But I know that the units in Kinnegad are up around 79 cents. So again, might be the site owner is dictating to EasyGo like that. Thank you very much, Jimmy, for the super sticker. So if you're watching on YouTube, you can send through a super sticker to help the channel. It's that time of year where the taxman is looking for his slice. So I really do appreciate that. So Sean is asking, am I going to Fully Charge Live UK? I am, all going well. I'm going over to the Farnborough one in April. There's two. There's one in the north of the UK and one in the south of the UK. So I'm going to that as well. So Simon has come back in, and a very valid point. It is still cheaper than Ionity, I believe, unless you're on a plan, and that is correct. With the Ionity, again, very much like ESB eCars, there is a membership scheme there as well, but you just have to work out that you're using it enough. And I suppose what the whole point boils down to is if you're able to charge at home, unless you're doing a lot of motorway and a lot of public charging, this really doesn't make a lot of difference. Yes, there is an increase in the price per kilowatt that you would be paying if you go to an ESB eCars site, but if the vast majority of your charging is done at home, and you be wise about your tariffs that you're selecting, if you're lucky enough to have solar panels and to be able to take in some solar energy, battery storage, etc., etc., and being smart about your energy usage, this really doesn't affect you too much, but there is an effect, don't get me wrong, and the price is going up. What I think will happen is that the market is starting to open up. So we're after seeing the announcement recently at the EV Summit, where SSE Airtricity and SSE Energy, all part of the one parent company, but two separate sections, very much like the ESB, they have announced that they're doing a huge rollout across Ireland with regards to EV charging hubs, proper hubs, covered charging in Mullingar. It's going to be solar paneled, and they're going to be up to 150 kilowatts, but it's going to be a dedicated site specifically for charging. And what you're going to find is once we start to get more market penetration from these other players within that EV charging market, those charge point operators, then we're going to start to see people picking and choosing the sites that they go to depending on the price. At the moment, there is a bit of a monopoly with ESB eCars because they were state funded. They were able to put chargers in potentially some of the most lucrative locations around the country, the busiest locations around the country. But we also have the likes of Applegreen coming into the market, and those in Dublin that have seen it recently, Junction 10 in Ballymount on the M50, there are 12 parking bays going in there, 6 ABB units, some CHAdeMOs, some multiple CCSs, etc. So it's going to be interesting to see what's happening out there. Good evening, Jim. Great YouTube channel. He's got his VW ID4 GTX. Hello to everybody from Jim Shed. Tony, still feels like we're a couple of years away, a couple of price drops away from EVs being price parity, exactly on the purchase price or the leasing price, or even then lower than an ICE counterparts. Would I agree? Absolutely, yeah. There is still that green premium, that EV premium, whatever you want to call it. So, and like everybody on the chats probably understands, you can't get them. So as much as things are starting to look like they're going against electric vehicles, they're still selling out. People are still seeing the benefits of the driving of an electric vehicle, of the maintenance of an electric vehicle, of the ability to charge at home with your electric vehicle. What I don't think is fair this evening is the fact that if I live in an apartment complex and I don't have off-street charging, that I'm being charged this amount. So I think the government are going to have to do something where, whether it's checked via Eircode or whether there's some kind of way of you saying, I haven't got the ability to charge at home or where I live, there really should be a slightly reduced or subsidized rate for people via their membership. And I know it may be abused, but I think if I'm living on a street or an apartment complex that I don't have the ability to charge via my own personal charger, where I can dictate the tariff, I think the government are going to have to do something about this. I think ZEVI, that's zero emissions vehicle in Ireland. And I think we can see that in the United Kingdom, because they're about 12 to 18 months ahead of us. And for my UK viewers, if you want to have a look at or jump into the comments and let us know, now that the market has a lot of EV chargers, do you find that they're all matching each other, or is there a bit of competition going on around and about there? We'd love to hear from you, because obviously there's a fewer players here in the marketplace. That's correct, Derek. The site owner dictates the pricing on the charge points that are managed by EasyGo. Exactly. So I know some people sometimes, poor old Chris gets the brunt of it in EasyGo as to why the price is the price, but it's a slightly different operation. Whereas with ESB eCars, it is the set price that we've seen there is going to hit the marketplace. John, great to hear from you. 10 minutes after Eamon Ryan drops the 2030 target from 1 million EVs in favor of buses and bicycles, instead see ESB eCars raising prices by 50%. eCars got funding from the transmission charges, 50 million and probably more since, so it all wrapped up in the electric bill. So normal electric users are paying for ESB eCars. It's a big comment. I'm still here. I have 15 EVs, 3 at home and the rest in business. So speaking as a person feeling like I've been sold a pup, if I'm honest, if you make you own free electricity at home, then you can save 94 cents a kilowatt. Thank you very much, John. And I think I've kind of cut it off there, and I didn't cut it off, it's just the way it won't fit on the screen. So if I've missed some important points at the bottom, make sure you come back in and let me know. Neely O'Brien, is the price increase just price gouging? There's a lot of factors out there, and the wholesale market price, but we have people within the Irish EV Owners Association committee that has eyes on, like large users that can see the wholesale price. So potentially, I wouldn't say price gouging, that's probably not fair, but the infrastructure is not cheap, don't get me wrong. And if you talk to Chris, if you talk to Applegreen, if you talk to some of the other players that are in the UK marketplace, like the GridServes or the Instavolts or the Ionities, like buying those 50s, 75s, 150s, 350s, not cheap. As EV drivers, we're all looking for canopies. Not cheap. Planning permission, grid connection. So I'm not here to justify the price, don't get me wrong, but is it fair to say price gouging? Listen, this might be their time in the sun where there isn't as many competitors in the marketplace, but as Chris and EasyGo expands and as other market players come into the marketplace, potentially, it might be just they think, okay, now's the time to do it before the likes of EasyGo or SSE or whoever it may be starts to come in and people start to pick and choose. Whereas sometimes like in Mayo, there are only, and it's my home county, there are only 3 50 kilowatt chargers. 3 for the whole county. Third largest county geographically in Ireland. Population density is not huge, don't get me wrong. So a static population of about 115,000 people. Market penetration of electric vehicles is very low, just the way it is, but it's not been helped by that. But yeah, there's one in Castlebar, one in Bannow, one in Westport. And it's the likes of the EasyGo is partnering with Mayo County Council and going in with the AIR partnerships and putting them around the county. People will start to see them more marketplace coming in. Another thing I want to look at is you can see what's happening here in France. This is on Twitter from Felix Arthur. He's very good. Electric Felix is his Twitter handle. And you can see where they're starting to look at becoming an electric vehicle charging hub themselves. And you can see where they've really cut the prices to get people in to charge there, but also then to shop when you're sitting there charging. So your 22 kilowatt is down to 25 cents, then your 50s, your 160s, and your 360s, all the same price, all 40 cents. So it's hard to beat that. But what I love about this is the visibility of the price. And the fact that I'm driving along, and when you start to see these multiple charging sites coming along, that you'll be able to see, okay, that charge point operator is charging me this. So as I pull in, I'm able to see exactly. So very much like petrol signs or wet fuel. Make good use of the channel before buying the I-PES Black Edition. Delivery in January. Thank you very much. Thank you, Andrew. And that's exactly what I set the channel up for, to drive the adoption and the awareness of electric vehicles. So it's great to hear. Beautiful car. Your car's, as you know already, I'm sure you've test driven it. Probably one of the best driving electric vehicles out there. So well aware and safe driving with that. So thank you, Andrew. As far as I know, ESB is 95% government owned, or is that correct? I know it's a semi-state body. I don't know what the percentage is. So they are a separate entity, and obviously the government is part ownership, part share of it. Ross is in. Does Ireland need a proper workplace charging scheme like the UK had for years? Serves people without drivers very well, even when the employer passing on the cost of charging. Yeah, and for those that know, my day job is I'm the general manager with a company called Nevo. And if you're based in Ireland, it's kind of like a dedicated EV website where you can see all the models that are available. 65 models currently, cars, full electric, about 13 or 14 full electric vans. But what we're finding, Ross, is workplaces are coming to us, fleet transitions, people that are thinking about making that transition or have made that transition, and they're looking for a bit of advice regarding workplace charging, home place charging, out and about charging. So utilizing what networks to utilize, who to sign up with, etc. So we're starting to see that. And I know at the recent EV Summit, and I've been hearing it for the last couple of weeks and months, that the Zero Emission Vehicle Ireland office, the ZEVI office, Aoife O'Grady and her team there of people from the different departments that have been joined up together. The focus of the grants being towards the vehicle are going to be starting to reduce, and we're going to start to see that government funding. So there's a pot of about 100 million being put towards workplace charging, commercial vehicle, taxi grants, public charging infrastructure, incentives and assistance to the likes of the forecourt operators, to the likes of private entities that maybe have a brownfield site or a greenfield site in a great location. We've been contacted in Evo the last couple of days from a couple of locations around the country, like ideal prime locations for EV charging hubs. Now it'd be a big investment. So the government support for that. And so as EV drivers, what I'd ask you is, do we want cheaper cars? And I know we're going to say we want all of it. Do we want cheaper cars? Do we want better infrastructure? Or do we want cheaper electricity for EV charging? I think we're only going to have the option of one of three of those. We can't have it all. So are we happy to take a little bit of a hit on the purchase price that's spread out over PCP or repayments anyway, and to say that, you know what, we're happy with the EV charging network? Or do we want the same network, but we want cheaper electricity or EV charging rates? So me, personally, I would prefer a better charging network. So I'm happy to pay a little bit more if I was purchasing an electric vehicle, to know that when I use it in different parts of the country, I'm going to be able to get a charge. But let me know in the comments what your views are on that. We are here, Mark Newbury on LinkedIn. Thank you very much. First time viewer. I've had my NG5 for a year. Great affordable family EV. I totally agree, Mark. Big fan of the electric estate. And now a Tesla long range Model 3 by virtue of work scheme. Mark, you're a very lucky man. Totally agree how current infrastructure favors home-owned off-road charging. Making charging more available, consistent, and affordable is key to adoption. And absolutely, what we say in the Irish EV Owners Association, but other organizations say as well, is like wet fuels, everybody has the right to fill up. Everybody should have the right to charge as well. It shouldn't be long queues, and don't talk to Eamon Stack about long queues because he will keep you there for a while, because Eamon has a smaller Nissan Leaf with a smaller battery. And so he has to charge more often. And so he's around the country, and he's going down to the Kingdom of Kerry, his home county, and he sees these pinch points at these busy weekends, and it's not good enough. It is not good enough. Especially if you're going to be charging these prices, there needs to be that grid connection, that reliability, that redundancy of more than one charger. Like between Dublin and Belfast, those people that know that M1 run, not good. So Glimpse Ireland, thank you very much coming through on YouTube. I'd like you there with your stand-up paddleboard. I have solar panels, battery in the attic, a smart meter installed. I wonder which of the electricity suppliers will give me the best rate for microgem back to the grid. Anybody research this? Great question, and hopefully my audience will answer. It is a topic that I know that for a while there, people weren't getting the promised export tariff, but I think it's been resolved now. I can see where energy providers, utility companies are going to start to really compete on this smart tariff rate. I can't get my, I understand why, because it's not that the incentives aren't there, but how somebody would take out a smart meter and put in a day-night meter. Now, don't get me wrong, I understand that the night rate is probably better, but the energy utility companies, the electricity companies need to really work on their tariffs. Not an easy company to be, not an easy space to be in at the moment, but please do so. I can't drive anymore, but I'm always interested. Very good. Thank you. And great for comments. I really do appreciate it, Mr. Mawson. So thank you very much for the engagement. Ross is back. UK high power charging rates probably a little higher than the new ESB pricing. BP Pulse, interesting. Recently rated not very high on a reliability and satisfaction survey in the United Kingdom. 79p per kilowatt for their 150 chargers here. And we suppose we have to be smart about now, start thinking about what can my car take? And within that state of charge of the car, as much as the top line figure might be a Volkswagen ID5 GTX or ID5 regular, it might say that top line you can get 150 kilowatts, so going up and paying more for that, the use of that charger. But if you're at 75%, the car won't take anywhere near that, so you might be better off on a 50 kilowatt charger. So we might do another session on that soon. I know that the Irish EV owners are going to be doing a live broadcast very similar to this with Colin Whelan from Omnisys about EV charging basics and getting an understanding as to the AC, the DC, etc. So I'm not going to go into too much of that tonight. Being smart with public charging pays dividends too. Chargy, char.gy, in the UK recently announced off-peak rates for overnight public charging. I wonder what others follow. Not sure the terms and conditions with Chargy though. Yeah, I've seen this, Colin, great initiative where the partnered, I think they have something to do with the Ubitricity system with the street lights. So Ubitricity is a Shell company, a part of the Shell organization, not a Shell company, and where they can retrofit streetlights and they can put in an AC charger. So if you live on a street and they do 5 or 6 of them along the road, so wherever you park, you're kind of near one, you can plug in your AC charger for overnight tariff. And what Chargy are doing is saying, right, okay, we know that the grid can take it. We definitely want to do it. So a very good idea. And hopefully we're definitely going to see we're going to start to see more of that within Ireland and smart meters. But the understanding of smart meters, people are kind of afraid of them here in Ireland at the moment. It hasn't been a great rollout. And also the tariffs to go with it from all of the electricity providers and energy providers. Thank you, Colin. Andrew Swanton, people not being able to charge at home but no off-street parking. Is there any talk of people being able to pool together and install chargers on streets? What do you think will happen here? So the local authorities are looking at a couple of different options, Andrew. They're looking at charging hubs, and be that a number of DC fast chargers. So it might be an hour out of your week if you're charging once a week, where you go off and you charge in a local fast charging hub, which would be set up for taxi drivers, logistic companies, but also for people without off-street parking. So that's option number one. Then utilizing street furniture that's existing, so the street lights, like we talked about with Collins Point previously, and being able to just park on the street and then plug in the charger. Insurance, trip hazards, that's going to be interesting. I know Stephen in Plug and Play EV YouTube channel in Boston, he did a review where the charger was up on the street light post itself, and the app lowered the cable down. Really interesting. And so there was no cable no cable trailing on the ground. And then there are other options then where you have the likes of pop-up chargers, bollards that are used for chargers. I know that with my work, I have some hardware connections that we're working with some people. So like the bollard that you see in parking lots or local authorities might have, that with a charger in it. Ubitricity is something actually similar as well, but there's a very good one in the United Kingdom that we're looking at. Thank you, Andrew. And thank you very much for the super sticker as well. I really do appreciate it. Hopefully I've answered your questions. I've tested the new Mach-E this evening for the wife, and I was very impressed. A quiet and competent little SUV. With the cost of energy rising, I might begin to wonder, but you can charge at home, Jim. So I think understanding what your home tariff is, and I would say that probably that wouldn't be the car that's used for the longer journeys. It'd be the GTX that you have, the red one. So the ability to charge at home is the key if that's where it's going to be charged and not with those longer distance. So knowing what your tariff is and trying to get the best tariff for EV charging. I know Electric Ireland have a system where you can, a couple of hours in the weekend, you get electricity free. Weekend is a lower time for consumption. The factories and the retail outlets, etc., aren't open. So I know that a good friend of mine, Sam, charges his car over the weekend, like from 5 in the afternoon to 12 in the night or something like that, and he gets it for free. And that's like, you can't beat that. Weave will also be present in the Republic of Ireland very soon. Very good. Hi, George. Good to see you. Yeah, Weave are out of Northern Ireland. Beautiful branding and starting to a big push there with regards to destination charging with AC, but also with DC faster charging as well. So looking forward to seeing them coming down south. Zevi won't get involved in energy pricing. There you go. Thank you, Simon. We'll have to have a chat with Zevi and see if we can push them into it. But the market probably, and that's where we're going with regards to the market actually deciding itself what it wants and what competitors are going to come into the marketplace. Donegal has a CCS in Dunloe, Letterkenny and Lahi. 3 for the second biggest county. Now, I thought it was Cork biggest, then Galway, then Mayo. And I'm not sure where Donegal was after that, because I'm a Mayo man. I was only interested in where I was. So for those, can you let me know what the biggest counties in Ireland are? Geography lesson for a Tuesday afternoon. Filling station Letterkenny locked the gate at 9 p.m. till 8 a.m. Yeah, there was a supermarket in the Mayo Roscommon border that does something similar, which is crazy, absolutely crazy. I had to reverse onto the pavement, climb the fence to get out. Yeah, so it's like, that's nonsense, absolutely crazy. But yeah. Thank you very much. Better network is the most essential ingredient for EV uptake and for ease of use for the owners. I think so, WD, but people are obviously getting anxious about what's happening within the marketplace. I think how the media are reporting it as well, bad news for, or tough day, or big blow. It's tough enough getting people into electric vehicles. And yes, we have to be realistic about range, about charging, about the inconvenience, but we're going to have to change how we live and how we do things. And yes, there will be a charge to it. It cannot be free all the time. It can't always be cheaper. We have to sometimes say, for the betterment of the climate, for the betterment of my kids, I'm going to have to take a bit of a hit here. It's not easy in these tough times, and tough times coming, don't get me wrong. But like, let me know in the comments. So the SEAI apartment charger grant scheme exists to enable charging for those without dedicated off-road parking. That's if you live in an apartment. Correct, Simon. Thank you very much. But if I live in a row of houses without off-street parking, is my point. I think Dr. Aoife O'Grady from Sevi, that's her situation. She lives in a terraced house and there is no off-street parking, so she can't use one of the apartment charger grants. It'll be a hub for her, or streetlight charging. Finton, good to see you. 3 to 7 kilowatt low power network, very poor. Okay, understand. 100,000 EV chargers planned in Stockholm, which is smaller than Dublin. Ubitricity have 35,000 curb and lamp pole chargers in the UK, but barely 35 here. 110 million Department of Transit budget out of sustainable travel. 1.9 billion budget is too small. Yeah, no, I agree. And definitely we're starting to just move that focus away. And I know the Department of Transport are probably looking at public transport, mobility as a service, and active travel, walking, cycling, running, etc. But there are some parts of the country that just is not applicable. And so if we are looking to move all of the country to a more sustainable transport system, for sure. Emer, great to hear from you. Thank you very much. I just ordered a Skoda Enyaq, beautiful car. Hope you have it in the new year. Good platforms for hints and tips for first-time EV owners are good platforms for hints and tips. So the Irish EV Owners Association, the Facebook group is very good. And if you become a member, there's a Slack channel in there, which is a bit more condensed with the amount of content in there, and you can ask the question and get an answer, really guaranteed to get an answer. So best chargers, best realistic rates, basically the idiot's guide, lol. So yeah, there's good content coming. Keep an eye on nevo.ie. There's a newsletter there as well, but yeah, there's good content out there as to, and I know that Blake from the AA Ireland did a price comparison there recently with regards to the home tariffs, what you can do, and which chargers are best is coming to my YouTube channel. I'll be doing a session on that as well for home chargers. So many out there, but there are a couple like the top 10 would be well known within the space, Emer. So I hope to get that started soon. Like what you said about the Electric Ireland free time rates, I need to know everything. Emer, we need a separate consultation, me and you. We'll chat about the whole thing. It's green time. Be right back. Good stuff. It's greens time. Finger crossed on the EasyGo expansion will help more 50 kilowatt charge. Absolutely. So Chris and the team there, huge expansion plans, and I know some counties are already locked in, and so starting to get those in the ground, and issues with planning and issues with ESB connectivity and making sure that there's a pillar beside it. And I don't envy Chris and the job that he and the team have to do. Mark O'Neill, hubs are definitely the way forward. But don't make the mistakes like many councils done with low solar power campus that won't let EV commercials under to charge. Correct. I know that with the SSE model that was at the EV Summit in the RDS recently, he being shown has some drive-through parallel chargers like a petrol station, where vans and likes of the Fuso eCanter with a box body can actually drive in. So yeah, Mark, definitely, and hopefully they'll start to work with people who know what's coming and what's in the marketplace rather than just sticking up a hub for the sake of it. Simon's back. Co-chargers trial starting in Dublin soon, I believe, which would allow those with home chargers to share them with those without. Think like an Airbnb for chargers, exactly. So a couple of initiatives like that, and co-charger seems to be the one that has taken hold in the United Kingdom. And so that's where you can let the app know when you have no use for your home charger. So you might be at work during the day, or you might be going away for the weekend, and you can say, I'm gone from Friday to Sunday. People can access this with the app works it out that Simon wants to come along and charge. You set the tariff, you know what you're paying, and you might put 1, 2, 5 cents, whatever you want, on the tariff. So you're covering yourself at least. So it's good. E-Gully might be the answer to terraced house charging, but will require local council buy-in. So that is where you cut a trench out, or you chase. There's my DIY lingo right there for you. You chase a channel out with an angle grinder, and it's kind of like a metal tray that sits into the groove, and there's kind of like brushes on the top of it, and then you push the cable down through it, and it kind of sits in it. So there's no trip hazard. But the only issue with it, I see, it's a good idea, is that you just need to make sure that's where you're parking every night. If somebody else parks there, it's kind of scuppering you. 50 kilowatt DC charging is not enough. Ireland needs more high power chargers, like a 150 kilowatt. This will help people too. I agree. What we do need, they're expensive. The grid connection is expensive. So upgrading the capacity. So yeah, obviously and 150 is probably the sweet spot, but at the moment, I think for planning permission, for substations, for grid connections, for costs for these CPOs, the 50s, the 75s, the 150s, etc., is where they're going to go. We could use the queue time, absolutely, as long as no PHEV pulls into it. We won't mention that. Matthew, great to see you, all the way from County Limerick. I hired an ICE to go to the EV Summit last week based on the average over 400-kilometer round trip. I spent €50. With the ESB eCars rate increase in my eSpace tour, it would cost the same to do the same. So it's going to cost you the same amount, but you're not having anything coming out of your tailpipe. So always remember that it's not just about the cost. It is for some people, but it is that climate, the bigger picture, and EVs aren't the answer. Don't get me wrong. We need less cars on the road, less vehicles on the road. We need more e-bikes, e-cargo bikes, better public transport. I only have an hour. It is the power hour. And so just make sure that's what you're thinking of doing. If you're interested in supporting the work that we do here on the channel, you can do that via super chats, super stanks, super stickers, all on YouTube or Patreon, or you can pay me a tip via PayPal. So at the bottom of this video or any of my videos, you can find the links to that. And as I said, if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, make sure you do so. Hit the like button, leave a comment, etc. Let me turn off that banner before it drives everybody mad. A small internal combustion engine at 120 kilometers per hour versus a 9-seater at 100 kilometers per hour. But I wanted my EV back. And you are, I won't call you a petrolhead, Matthew, but you're a motorhead, which I appreciate. The driving experience is much better. Yeah, your left foot doesn't know what to do with itself. It's smoother, quieter, etc., etc., and it's a lot more intuitive. And the mind-pedal connection is unlike any ICE because you're conscious of it, absolutely, unless you stick it on cruise control, which you obviously can as well. But you're watching your usage rate very well. Hotels should have their own their charging stations for EVs. What's your current verdict on whether this is a good idea? I 100% agree. Whether you're attending a conference or whether you're staying overnight, the ability to fast or slow charge, I think a lot more hotels are going to start to do that. I know the Irish Open was held down. Chris, jump in there to the comments. Mount Juliet. I'm going to say Mount Juliet. And I know that EasyGo had a slow and a fast charger system there. And so it's great to see hotels and others, places like destination chargers, supermarkets are starting to put in fast chargers. So you can see again with Chris and the team at EasyGo and their connection with Lidl or Aldi, one of the two of them, they're putting in fast. And very much like the image that we have here, that's a Lidl e-station. As part of the supermarket, they have slow, fast, and super fast chargers there, right there. So 24-hour access as well. That's what we want. Sean, good to see you from My Energy. Vehicle-to-home conversations are really a hot topic in the conversation at the moment, given businesses are offering employees the ability to take electricity from the office back to their home. Be great to get your thoughts on that. I think that that whole bidirectional charging and the ability to charge up on cheaper tariff and then being able to run your home or business on that tariff, I think is the way and that's what ESB networks should be looking at, and that grid stability piece, rather than focusing on penalizing people between 5 and 7. Let's really work with those that have electric vehicles that have that battery on 4 wheels or battery storage at home, and bigger battery storage banks. And it comes back to another point of people wanting to put in chargers at places where there's no grid connection and having the ability to put in a battery buffer system. We get asked this a lot at Nevo, where people I can't put in the connection that I want, or I want a fast charger, but their current location, or it's too cost prohibitive to put in fast charging. But by putting in a battery buffer system, it sits there, it sucks in all this nice cheaper energy, or trickles in the energy. It doesn't need a big connection. And then when somebody pulls up, Sean comes along with his big Mercedes-Benz or BMW, whatever you're driving at the moment, Sean, and it dumps it out. And then, because some chargers aren't back to back to back. There's one here in Dundee now, and it's fairly busy, I can tell you that, and it's only a 50 kilowatt. Volkswagen LE FlexPole 150 battery buffer chargers work on the LV connection, low voltage connection, so no substation needed. Exactly. So, and there's loads of these systems out there. 400 being rolled out by BP Pulse in the United Kingdom, Aral in the EU in partnership with VW. Yeah, so that FlexPole system is a big battery bank that takes in that slow charger. So you bet me to it, Finn, or I bet you to it. How many 150 chargers are live at present in Ireland? With Ionity, 6. by 636. I wouldn't say there's 50. Maximum 50. Between all the Ionity sites. Sorry, let's talk about Tesla as well. Open to the public, Ionity plus the 150s that are on the ESB network. Less than 50, I'd say, Jared. And in very key motorway points and around the Apple Greens are going to be 150s, I think, minimum. They're ABB Terra units. Mount Juliet is spot on. I haven't lost it yet, Chris. I haven't lost it. We need to encourage more destination charging. Absolutely agree. It was on the Q Park and the Spire car park. Free charging was when parking the car. Free charging when parking the car. Very good. We need more chargers in car parks. Absolutely. And I know that there's a couple of really smart things out there where you pay for the parking and the charging together. But it's great to hear that Q Park are offering it complimentary. But that won't always be the way. If every car parking space within a Q Park is an EV parking space, their bill won't be long cracking up. As long as you have a Nissan Leaf using CHAdeMO. So yeah, originally the CHAdeMO protocol, that connector was built for that bidirectional DC charging and movement of electrons. Whereas I know that there's some work happening with CCS at the moment. So yeah, it's not going to be only CHAdeMO, Carl. I know that CCS and the ability to use CCS in bidirectional vehicle to home, vehicle to grid, like Sean was saying. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. Fintan, the man that has the answers. 22 Ionities, 33 ESB, 50 Tesla rapid chargers, not counting the SSE under construction. Okay. So ESB and 55. Wasn't far off, Jared. It wasn't far off. And then the Tesla ones, but they're locked to the Tesla network at the moment. Out of curiosity, did EV charging network become big when hybrids hit the market? What happened is the EV charging network in Ireland was very strong 10 years ago, in 2010, 2011, 2012. Like, we were ahead of the pack. We put out a lot of AC 22 kilowatt posts and a number of 50 kilowatts DC chargers, government supported through the ESB eCard network, but it hasn't been rolled out or upgraded as quick as the adoption rate of electric vehicles has happened. And like I always say, around the time that the stats come out at the start of the month, could you imagine if everybody that wanted to buy an EV was able to buy an EV? Like, it would be, you wouldn't know what to be doing with yourself. No electric mirth at the moment, Sean. Hard luck, buddy. Hard luck. It's coming though. It's coming. Keep working. Pierce will look after you. And so that EV charging piece, I know we're 42 minutes into the power hour already. It's for people using the public network. I think it was an inevitability. Yes, they've already put up the price this year. Others have as well. I know in the United Kingdom, there was a charging network that went to £1 a kilowatt for a moment in time there, as the wholesale market price was super high. I hope that as prices come down and as other competitors come into the marketplace, that they start to see the opportunity of pricing more competitively. What I'd hate to see is that this becomes a benchmark as to this is the price that people are happy to pay for. I think that people are like petrol and diesel. People have traveled halfway across a county to get 2 cents cheaper diesel or petrol. So I think we're going to get the exact same thing with electricity and the ability to charge. But what's great about it is that you're not just limited to petrol forecourts. You're limited to sites like hotels or supermarkets or wherever that may be that has an excess energy grid, or has the ability to battery buffer, or is happy to pay that extra grid connection to do it. I have a bit of spam coming in there, folks, so we're just going to drive that away. Tesla's trying to open up non-Tesla EVs in other EU countries. Yeah, so they have done that with a number of sites in the United Kingdom, France, Netherlands, if I'm right. And so they've opened up certain stations, and I think they only open them up off-peak times. I don't know exactly, but yeah, there's, like, I did a recent road trip with John Murray where I hit all the EV charging locations for Tesla in Ireland, and there are 8, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, and there's nobody at them. Like, now I know I went on like a Thursday evening or think it might have been Thursday even, but I hit all of them at certain times of the day, and like you're talking stands of 6 and 8 stalls. I don't think I met one other Tesla in the whole trip, maybe one. So yeah, they're definitely, for infrastructure that's sitting there, they could be utilizing it and allowing others to pay for it. It's not like they're going to give it away for free or give it away for nothing. He's back. He's had his greens. Pat, unfortunately, fears that prices won't come down. Pat, I hope we're wrong, and I hope that other players coming into the marketplace that are watching this video tonight, we have a number of people that are tuned in, that are sitting back and watching everything that we're chatting about, can go, right, there's an opportunity here. So thank you, Pat. Thank you for the comment. And thanks everybody for engaging on the comments here this evening. So Carol says, I landed a UK government Innovate UK funding on a V2G pilot project in 2017. Good man, Carol, 5 years ago. Bi-directional CCS was being worked on and an imminent back then and definitely coming in 2018. But I'm starting to think they might not make the 2018 deadline. No. A bit like hydrogen, a bit like solid state batteries. They're coming, but just not quite yet. A bit like the Cybertruck and the Roadster. Yes, Simon is right. Osprey was £1, but dropped back down again. Yeah, and that market fluctuation, I think what we're going to start to see is, as much as ESB or whoever are saying our prices are now this, I think what we're going to see is a bit more Friday, Saturday, Sunday, the price is more expensive. And for the other times of the week, now that would require a fluid pricing model and a system that's robust enough to take that change in pricing. But if I got a push notification from a charge point operator to my phone to say, if you charge your car on Wednesday night, because we know you like charging it on Thursday and Friday night, but if you charge it Wednesday night, we give it you for 2 cents or 5 cents cheaper. Smart. They know that the Wednesday night charger isn't being, or that charger on a Wednesday night isn't being utilized. So let's be smart about it. Will we ever have true competition as long as the network is controlled by one company? Yeah, and do you know what? It's not just, as much as ESB, eCars are one of the largest operators in the country, if not the largest single operator in the country. I know that EasyGo work on top of that, as well as their own and Circle K and Ionity, but for a standalone charge point operator, they are the biggest. Yeah, time will tell. Thank you, Alan. Grid connection costs are a big issue anywhere contacting these. Yeah, and again, potentially ZEVI, the red tape. I know they've done a lot of consultation. I know that a lot of people are working with the likes of the Department of Built Environment, etc., to say, right, we want to put charges in here, but this is holding us up, be that at local authority level, be that at national level, be that at ESB side, network side of things, to get the grid connection. So yeah, we definitely need to speed up. And I think with the focus of ZEVI moving towards, we need to help with public infrastructure, I think they're going to have to streamline that. As bad as it is down in the south, I know in Northern Ireland, it's crazy because you have to pay to upgrade the network to get the network to you. Mental stuff. Replying back to Pat, I'm pretty sure they will at some point, so fingers crossed. This will allow eCars competitors to jump into the market and gain a decent share if they don't drop the prices with wholesale prices dropping. Yeah, absolutely, Matthew. And so it's going to be a decision for them to say, we're happy, we're going to stick it here, and we're just going to make cream now as before the competitors come in. But yeah, I agree. The Irish public price was very low at the start over the year comparison to the UK and the EU. So we might not see prices come back into the price at the start of the year. Yeah, you're probably right. We were probably being a bit spoiled, unfortunately. But yeah, it is the price of progress, and it is the way it's going to go. And competition is, I think, what we need in the marketplace. I hope that higher prices will encourage entrance into the market. Very good. You're the same as Matthew. So everybody's thinking the same, which is great. Grid connection availability and knowing that the availability is actually a bigger issue. Yeah. Understanding that if you want to put a charging hub, so you're a charge point operator and you want to put a charging hub into X location, because you know that there's passing traffic or there's future passing traffic, maybe with an upgraded road network, etc. It's a tough one. Absolutely a tough one. And knowing or requesting it, and obviously it's an ongoing business concern to not let the cat out of the bag. And so you spot an ideal opportunity in an ideal location, and then you go to ESB networks and say, can you give me, a gigawatt of energy here that I have on tap, and they keep it to themselves. They don't tell anybody else. Hopefully, that's the way it is. I'm using BGE EV dual fuel Bord Gáis Energy EV dual fuel plan. So from 2 a.m. to 5 a.m., it's 11 cents per kilowatt. Enough to top up EV daily driving, but you need a smart meter. So yeah, and understanding the smart meter is needed to work with that, or if you've got an EV that has the ability to have the charger, but for that tariff specifically, it needs to be a smart meter, I believe. It's not just a prices change. Sean, what's the best EV coming in the market in 2023? Sean, that's a future EV power hour. Gee, don't be spoiling it. But what's happening next year? What am I excited about? I'm excited for the Ford Transit E-Custom. You didn't expect that one, Sean. That's going to be huge. I am excited to see Aura Funky Cat on the road. I'm excited to see MG4 on the road. What's coming wise? Yeah, there's a few, but yeah, there's going to be a future update on that, Sean. But yeah, I like that. Oh, Simon is MG4. The best EV. The best value, I think. Yeah, definitely a value play. And so, yeah, it's definitely, but we will do a whole run through the cars that are going to be appearing in 2023. I'll try to do that before Christmas, festive season, holiday period. So we've had a great chat about the public charging network and what we need to do. Lots of comments, which I really do appreciate. And we've got more coming in. Lots going on around London, yeah. So there's a lot of, within the different boroughs in London, there's a lot of electricity work, we were talking about earlier on, but the numbers that they have there with the street lights and the bollards and the curbs, the connected curbs, etc. So it's definitely one model. And we had a presentation at the EV Summit from Amsterdam. They're looking at that as well. And they've got heat maps as to where they can see Amsterdam local government. If you own an EV, they have to put a charger within a certain radius of your property if you haven't got the ability to charge. So they will put in a public street light charger or bollard charger for sure. Potentially in a few years, we will have a plethora of different companies offering public charging. The variety of different apps, cards, and fobs are already confused with one card for all, please. Yeah, that's the way it's going. ESB or EasyGo are fairly there with regards to, they cover ESB, Ionity, Circle K, and their own. But yeah, more of those types of things are going to come into the marketplace as well. ESB have a lot of motorway sites with old single-use DC chargers. Hopefully promised upgrades materialize. And what I've heard is those sites on the M1 where there's one 50 kilowatt charger and there's a large Tesla bank. I got a weird message there. Last week, somebody said to me they've heard that Tesla are being moved out because that fuel operator, Apple Green, are looking to do their own thing, which is interesting. I'd still leave Tesla there. This is an interesting and useful YouTube channel format. I'm glad I got the notification first. Knowledge is definitely power on this topic. Many thanks and keep up the good work. You're very welcome. I should do these more often, and I will do these more often. Thank you very much. And thanks to everybody who commented. For those who are sitting back and not commenting, jump in there at the comments before the end. We've got 7 minutes so you can say hello, where you're calling from. Let us know, caller, where you're coming in from. I've got Switzerland here already, which was phenomenal to see. Everybody down south is worried about the high prices, whereas for us up north, we want the free chargers to start charging to get rid of the free riders who are causing many problems. Jonathan, I hear you, buddy. It's not good up there at the moment, and the sooner the chargers coming in, I know that ESB Cars announced at the EV Summit that it's coming in the coming months, next couple of months. To me, a couple is 2. So let's hope. Mind you, Tesla superchargers incoming in Belfast. Yes. I'm going to have to take an old trip up to Belfast, I think. Visit my EVANI friends up there. And Jonathan, we'll pipe up for a cup of coffee. Hotel chargers, absolutely. Just got back from Galway, and quite a few hotels had chargers in their car parks. Great to hear, Thomas. Thank you very much. Destination chargers, yeah, really good. Thomas, was it all separate apps? Was there any tap to pay? Let me know. That'd be great. EVs are here to stay and think only get better after time. Yeah, it will. It's definitely that there is teething problems, there is growing pains. When combustion engine vehicles were 100 years ago coming out, there weren't petrol stations everywhere as well. So we're not the first ones. One card for all. No, it should be contactless payment. Richard the Great, I bet you to it there. My last comment to Thomas there in Galway, or his trip to Galway. Apps, access card fobs. I think there's an EU legislation coming in that it has to be tap to pay. I think that, or any future charging infrastructure put in has to have tap to pay. I know that we've looked into it at Nevo as to AC chargers with tap to pay, and DC chargers with tap to pay. EasyGo have them as well. Ionity not at the moment. ESB not at the moment. It's not good enough. If they're going to be a big player, they need to put in those terminals. Thomas McGuire, that's a shame. Hope you got back with enough range. Oh no, I think he said that was good. Hotel chargers, absolutely. I got back from Galway, and quite a few hotels had chargers in the car park. No, they did. I was getting worried there. Coming in from, thank you very much. Coming in from Cork. Spoke to a guy in Galway recently who said that there are only 28 public chargers in Galway, and what he's saying there is AC slow chargers. So, like, I wouldn't want to be going around counting DC 50 kilowatts and above chargers in Galway. There are definitely in 28 of those. So yeah, it's you can filter it on any of the apps as to show me only the DC stuff, be that Chathamore, be that CCS. It's scary along the West Coast. I watched people at EasyGo chargers leave because they couldn't figure it out, and recently the Monta charger in Liffey Valley City. Yeah, there is an education piece there. I know that I've done a couple of videos for EasyGo as to how to use the chargers, and Monta, that should be easy enough, because once you download it, they will, thank you very much for the like coming in there, wherever that came out of. I think on Facebook. If you're watching on Facebook, give me a like. The Monta app is getting a lot of traction. I'm actually going to be having a conversation with Ricky, the country manager for Ireland, here on the channel coming very soon, to understand what that Monta app is. They were at the EV Summit as well. ESB networks are working on mapping the low voltage network. These acronyms, I'm glad I understand them. Currently are estimating loads and on low voltage, medium voltage network, which obviously impacts charging rollout. 25% of low voltage mapping by the end of 23, so 12 months. Happening slowly. It's happening slowly. Yes, it is. We're getting there. Guillaume, good to see you. Hearing you loud and clear in County Kildare. The Lily Whites, great to hear it. Hi, thank you very much, John. I appreciate people jumping into the comments at the very end. Thank you. Plug-in charge is actually what we want, not cards at all. So yeah, so what Simon's talking about there is the ISO standard, where you've got a payment method attached to your car, and as you pull up, very much like Tesla, it goes, okay, Paddy, you're driving the Volkswagen ID5. I know it's you. I know you're charging. Take the charger out, plug it in, walk away. I'm wearing a green wristband here, and my green screen is showing that I've got a floating hand. Very weird. So yeah, that plug and charge is what we're doing. And Volkswagen, there's a couple of other brands that have it as well, and a couple of charge point operators have it. So yeah, good. Traveling back from Galway, got charged 75% per kilowatt at EasyGo in Kinnegad. So that's probably the highest site for EasyGo at the moment. And again, I think it might be down to the site itself dictating the price, because the normal EasyGo price are 45 cents to 49 cents if you look on the app. But that specific site is 75. It is on the higher side, highest side. Model Y rear-wheel drive, same price as the Model 3 rear-wheel drive. I think it's a good deal for family EV seeker. Yeah, it's like low 50s at the moment if you can afford it, if you think that's reasonable, or you can do it on leasing or PCP. Phenomenal value, and the charging network. It's just whether you like a Tesla or not. The outside, the inside, the ride. If it suits you, it's hard to beat it. Literally the same price as a Ioniq 5 or a Kia EV6. Do you think that its own country will introduce? Do you think that its own companies will introduce a Tesla-like supercharger network for their cars, like Volvo? They're thought about it. I know that a lot of companies have gone in behind the Ionity network and are partnered with that. I know Hyundai or Kia. I know that some of the German brands are in part of that Ionity group as well, so BMW, etc. So they are saying that we're part of that network. And in America, the Electrify America network is Volkswagen because of Dieselgate. So yeah, there's a huge amount of infrastructure. The cost is huge. What I would like to see, what they've done in Ford United States, and they've said to any Ford dealership that wants to sell electric, you have to put in a bank of chargers that are open to the public. I think more dealerships and garages should do that as part of their offering. It helps with the adoption. It shows that there's chargers available. People can actually see what's going on. So a brand in Ireland should say, right, if you're taking this brand of electric vehicles, you as a dealership, they're making money. There's nobody closing down. Should put in maybe 4 150s. Like what Ford are saying to their dealerships out there. With some hotels integrating chargers, should they make it free with a stay? Absolutely no fees for an EV owner. Yeah, some of them offer complimentary, some of them do not. No issues, all EasyGo. Very good to hear. Chris, whoever's looking after the EasyGo Galway side of the things, is doing well. Got charged back up to 80% where I was staying and got back just now at just on 100% or so. So Thomas drives a Tesla Model 3. Great to hear, Thomas. Hope Galway treated you well. Hello from Drogheda. Good evening, Anthony. Thank you very much. Plug and charge would be a wonderful feature, but a lot of manufacturers can't even get Type 2 charging right. Volkswagen and Zappi have crazy issues with them not following the ISO for Type 2 charging. Yeah, so it's not easy is right. Any thoughts on Audi's poor software on the Q4? I think it's part of that whole Volkswagen group, that Skoda, Volkswagen, and Audi. Volkswagen, Audi, and yeah, not being great now. Not being great, but hopefully more software over the updates is what we want, and the utilization of that service. Weave would be happy to put a place. Weave would be happy to have a few DC chargers in the West. Very good, Jared. We're going to be having fisticuffs with Chris at EasyGo. Good competition is what we want. Fully charged is good with Robert. Well, absolutely, very, very good. And I said I'm going to Farnborough in April. Looking forward to it. The 3-day event there. Folks, we are at 8 o'clock and we are coming up. The numbers are growing all hour. Thank you so much. If this is your first time tuning in, if you haven't already subscribed, please do so. Like the video, share it, watch it afterwards, pass it on to a colleague. The more people that see this content and are aware of what we're doing here in Ireland, but also in the United Kingdom, as to how to resolve these issues, how to have a conversation about it. I really appreciate everybody's time on a Tuesday evening. You could be watching football and you're not. You might be doing dual screen. But thank you so much. I hope you have a great week and I will talk to you soon. And remember, if you think an EV is for you, leave it to me and I'll review. Thank you very much for watching.